We're kicking off another virtual discussion. Joining me today is Danielle Bock, Nutrition Services Director at Greely-Evans Weld County in Colorado. But first, I definitely want to say thank you, Danielle. I know that your time is super valuable. I know that things are crazy, so I really appreciate you spending some time with me today. Even though it's virtually, you know, it's still a good thing.
It's my pleasure. It's good to see you again, Carol.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping that it would be in person in July, right? But this will do.
We'll get there.
Right. So again, I know that things are really crazy as you and your colleagues around the country continue to navigate these uncharted, stormy waters. You know, we really want to get your thoughts on some different topics. And starting out today, I'm really just curious, what are your thoughts? Like, what should we be advocating for moving forward? As maybe we have a little bit more, I don't know, I still don't think we know what's going on, but maybe we're in a little better place than we were even 2 weeks ago.
It's a great question, Carol. I think that right now, the most important thing that we can advocate for is continuing to have flexibility as we execute our programs. One of the things that we know for sure about child feeding, whether it's in the middle of a school year in our buildings or in the middle of the summer in parks and rec centers, is that not every program operates the same. There is no one size fits all for every community across Colorado and across the US. So right now, the best thing we can advocate for is to continue the flexibilities that the USDA granted us back in March. And most specifically and most needed for me and my colleagues right now is for those flexibilities to specifically be continued into September. And quite honestly, I advocate that we go all the way through the end of the school year 2021, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the new school year will bring. We don't know what the next flu season is going to bring. And if we have those flexibilities built in from the USDA, then we are assured to have the resources we need to make sure the kids in our community get fed.
Definitely. And again, because there's still not much guidance, I know that it's probably just continues to be a struggle for you guys. Are you seeing any differences in your district? Because now not only are we looking at students that had qualified for free and reduced meals prior to COVID, but now we have this huge spike in unemployment. Are you seeing potentially that those families, those children that are being affected by unemployment, if we don't see these continued flexibilities, continue to struggle or be impacted negatively?
For sure, definitely. I can say that very specifically, I have talked to families. Families come to our distribution. And I've had several conversations with parents that have said, you know, I was working and now I'm not. And thank God for this program, and thank God for you guys being out here, because this helps. This helps decrease our grocery bill. This helps decrease the burden that we feel to make sure that our kids continue to get fed. And so as we move into next school year, we know that for students to learn, they have to be well nourished, and for them to thrive, their bodies need nutrition. And so there's no way, with a proposed unemployment rate of 25%, you know, larger than the Great Depression, there's no way that we don't end up with longer lines in our cafeterias. And so we expect to see that spike. The hard part is going to be, of course, the social distancing that we still need to figure out. But a lot of families have never filled out a free and reduced meal benefits application. So we're going to need to navigate those waters with families that are new to a free school lunch program.
Right. And so now, I'm not sure in Colorado, but today is technically my kid's last day of school. So we would be going into what we would be normally, right, in the normal, I don't know, whatever normal is, we would be starting summer, like the summer meal program or summer feeding. So, and communities are different across the board. In the community that we live in, it's like, I think it's like 3 out of 10 would qualify. So is there anything different that we would look at addressing now in the summer, or is it really just continuing hoping that these flexibilities stay in place so you can continue to at least do what you're doing by just feeding everyone today?
My kid got out last week unexpectedly. I think they decided that testing wasn't going to happen, so we just get an extra week of summer.
Yeah.
In Greeley, in the school district where I work, our last day is, oh my God, today. See how that happens? Today is the last day of school. Congratulations. What we know is that when we go into a traditional summer program, this is how I use it now. I say we're going to start our summer program, which is the exact same thing we've been doing since spring break, except more. When we go into those programs, we know in the state of Colorado that we normally feed 1 out of every 10 kids that qualifies for free or reduced meal benefits during the school year. And so we know that our burden as child nutrition program providers and sponsors is to find those kids. What is very different this year than in the past is that we go to where kids congregate. That's what we do. We go to the public library, we go to the park, we go to the brand new skate park that was poured and christened and opened a week before the city shut down. We're going to go to those places to feed kids because that's where they congregate. But the big question is it okay for kids to congregate? And should we, as public health officials in our own way, should we be encouraging that congregation by providing those meals? So we're going to do it different this year. We've just decided on Tuesday when we launch our summer program, in Greeley, we will use school buses, to go to each and every elementary school normal bus stop. So if your elementary student would walk out to the end of their block to get on their school bus, that's where we will be pulled over at specific times throughout the week, throughout the day. We will also add afternoon stops.
Nice.
We have not traditionally fed past 12 or 12:30 in our traditional programs. We are now going to feed through 3:30 in the afternoon, because the other thing that we know is that most kids don't roll out. Mine doesn't even get up until 11.
Right.
She's lucky if she has breakfast by noon. So I think that those are a few things that we're going to do different in hopes that we can minimize kids congregating in order to get meals from us and make sure that we get to every neighborhood in Greeley and Evans.
And is there anything that you can that you're doing extra to get that word out there so they know that you're going to be at the bus stop at this time, and please come join us to get those meals?
We're doing all the traditional things that we've done in years past, really taking to social media. We run some commercials in movie theaters in the past, which we're not going to do this year because our movie theaters aren't open. The one thing I'm going to try different is I have asked our foundation, the foundation that supports Greeley and Evans students, to sponsor an underwriting ad with our local public radio station, in hopes that the radio, that if we're underwriting programs, that it'll happen throughout the day, in hopes that that will reach more parents, because we really just need all of the community to know that we're going to be out there.
Fantastic. And so it looks like you guys are, or sounds like you guys are doing a great job, at least trying to get your kids fed. But then there's also the other end of things, and that has to do with budgets, right? And so I hear this from a lot of colleagues, directors across the United States, and here in Arizona. With the shutdown, there is now that other negative impact, which has to do with budget shortfalls. How are you guys handling that now in Colorado? And do you have any insights or recommendations for your colleagues across the United States?
That question, Carol, honestly, that's where you and I could sit here for an hour, and I could tell you all the policy stuff that happens in the state of Colorado, but we don't have that. So I will simply remind my colleagues in Colorado that our K-12 education department at Colorado Department of Education is funded at the 49th position out of 50 states in our country. Our per pupil funding is second from the bottom. What that means for us as nutrition services departments is that we need to operate programs that are at the very, very least budget neutral, because we will not have the ability to go to our general funds to have that transfer in to remain financially stable and fiscally responsible. And so I honestly think that the advice that I have for my colleagues is we must market our programs and we must market ourselves. And that probably the single greatest thing we can do at this point, beyond feeding our kids and the obvious, is marketing our programs. Because without that increased revenue stream, without more kids participating, we've all seen a decline. There's only one school district I know of in the state of Colorado that is serving more kids now than they were prior to this. The rest of us have all seen double-digit falls in our revenue and our participation. So over the summer months, we really need to get out there and ensure that all families know. It doesn't matter if you qualified for free and reduced lunch last year. It doesn't matter if you go to this school district. What matters is that you come and get a healthy, nutritious meal from us, because that's the revenue we need to continue to operate our programs. So marketing, marketing, marketing.
And I think that's a great, that really is a great strategy, because you're right. Helping people know that it's a good thing for them to come eat with you. One, you're helping them, they're helping you. You're providing a well-balanced, nutritious meal to those kids. And it's one less thing that the parents have to think about or the families have to think about, but will also keep you and your district and your colleagues and really across the United States going.
Yeah, I think that as a lot of parents start returning to work, as businesses start to open across the country, I wish for all of them to know that there is a place for their kids to go in their community to receive a nutritious, well-balanced meal, so that they don't need to worry when they go off to work what their kid's going to have for lunch today. And like you said, it's mutually beneficial. It's less for them to worry about, and it will ensure that our programs have the resources they need to continue to operate.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I want to just say thank you, because I know that you guys are working tirelessly. I know that, like I said, it's just this crazy ocean that you're trying to navigate. And you guys really are doing a phenomenal job. And I know that your families in your district are absolutely appreciative, the ones that are taking advantage. And I hope that the ones that aren't definitely come on board sooner rather than later. So
Thanks, Carol. And I just want to say thank you to you and your colleagues. To me, it's so important that we have partners in industry, that we have this great partnership with all of our industry members, our food manufacturers that are figuring out how to get us more shelf-stable things, our technology partners that are going to figure out how we get those kids through the cafeteria without hundreds of little hands touching pin pads. I just really appreciate you guys continuing to do this important work with us, because we couldn't do it alone. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. And thank you again.
It's my pleasure.